The clatter of silverware and happy chatter filled my aunt's sunny dining room. It was supposed to be a nice family brunch. I should have known better. My mother, Eleanor, cleared her throat loudly, a signal everyone recognized. The table fell quiet. "I suppose we should toast to Rachel," she began, her voice sweet but her eyes sharp. "It's a lesson for us all. My daughter received a generous inheritance from her father and, well, she blew it all on some silly dream." My face burned. 50 pairs of eyes, family, neighbors, church friends, swiveled to me. The whispers started instantly. Mom gave a sad little sigh. Maybe one day she'll learn to balance a checkbook. I sat frozen, a statue of shame. Just then, the doorbell rang. My aunt answered, welcoming Mr. Adams, our neighbor from across the street. He also happened to be the manager of First Regional Bank. The very man I had a confidential appointment with in 1 hour. Mr. Adams moved through the room, shaking hands. When he reached me, he didn't look pitying. He gave a small, professional smile. "Ah, Ms. Davis. I'll see you shortly for our meeting." He then turned to greet my mother. Her smile was plastered on, but her eyes were wide with confusion. How did the bank manager know me? The humiliation finally boiled over. I mumbled an excuse and fled from the table. I heard my mother's voice call after me, "Don't run away, Rachel. You made your bed." The words felt like physical shoves. I stumbled out the front door, the bright sun mocking my misery. Inside the car, I gripped the steering wheel. Hot tears of shame threatened to fall. But beneath the shame, a new feeling surged, a solid, cold anger. This was the last time. The absolute last time she would do this to me. I drove straight to the bank, my hand steadying with every block. The cool, quiet air inside was a relief. Mr. Adams greeted me warmly and led me to his private office. "Now, Ms. Davis, let's finalize the paperwork for your second business account. The Rising Flower Bakery is quite a success story." He slid a folder across the desk. I finally breathed. He didn't see a failure. He saw a business owner. The inheritance from my dad wasn't wasted. I had used it as seed money for my bakery. It wasn't a silly dream, it was a quiet triumph I'd hidden from my family. I couldn't bear their criticism, their constant doubt. Mr. Adams tapped a line on a form. "This is the joint account with your mother, Eleanor Davis. For the new corporate structure, her name should be removed, correct?" I looked at my mother's name on the official document. The memory of why it was there in the first place flooded back. Flashback, it was a month after my father's funeral. The grief was a heavy blanket. My mother sat with me at this very kitchen table, holding my hands. "Your father left you that money to keep you safe, Rachel," she'd said, her voice trembling. "Let me help you manage it. I'll put your name on my account. It's just a formality, to protect you." I was too sad and too trusting. I signed the papers. For a year, everything seemed fine. Then I noticed things. Unexplained transfers. When I asked, Mom would pat my hand. "Just a small loan to your brother. Derek's business hit a rough patch. Family helps family." I later learned small loans meant tens of thousands of dollars from my inheritance, funding my brother's failing construction company while she called my dream a waste. My phone buzzed as I left the bank. It was Mom. "Rachel, are you still sulking?" she began, not waiting for an answer. "You never understood the sacrifices I made for you. I managed that money to secure your future, and you throw it back in my face." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. The sacrifice of giving my money to Derek? Then, my brother Derek came on the line. "Hey, little sister. Heard you're still playing Baker. Cute." His laugh was a harsh bark. "Listen, Mom's planning a surprise family announcement this weekend. You should be there. Maybe you'll learn something about real business." The call ended. I looked at the bank paperwork in my passenger seat. The surprise was going to be all theirs. The weekend came and the family gathered at my mother's house. Derek held court, bragging about a massive new contract his company had just won. "It's all about smart family investments," my mother added, beaming at him. My jaw tightened. Those investments were my inheritance. Derek jingled a set of shiny new keys. "Picked up a new truck for the job. Can't show up to a big site in a rust bucket." He then looked at me. "You should be grateful Mom handles the finances, Ratch. You'd probably have traded Dad's money for a lifetime supply of sprinkles." The small crowd chuckled. Then, my eyes landed on the catering trays. They were filled with pastries. And on the side of each tray was a small, elegant sticker with a logo I knew intimately. It was my bakery's logo. I had never approved this order. I stepped into the hallway and called Maya, my bakery manager. "Maya, did we get a large order for the Davis residence?" Maya sounded confused. "Yes, your mother placed it yesterday. She said you authorized it and to put it on your personal credit card, like last time." My blood ran cold. "Like last time?" I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. "She said it was your standing instruction for family events." My mother had been using my name and my money to throw parties where she mocked me. This was the final straw. The embarrassment, the theft, the lies, it all crystallized into a single, clear purpose. I could not let this continue. I needed to protect myself, and to do that, I needed proof. I met with a lawyer, a serious woman named Amanda Cross. I laid out everything, the joint account, the transfers to Derek, the unauthorized catering charges. "Legally, since you're a joint owner, some of this is murky," she explained. "But morally, it's clear theft. You don't need revenge, Rachel. You need receipts." She advised me to gather every bank statement, email, and receipt I could find. As I was leaving, she glanced at the latest financial summary from my bakery that I'd brought. She whistled softly. "With these numbers, you've just crossed into a new asset tier at your bank. You should talk to Mr. Adams about exclusive investor opportunities. That changes the game entirely." A plan began to form in my mind, not of anger, but of strategy. I became a ghost in my own financial life. I spent evenings gathering documents, building my case. I met with Mr. Adams again. With the lawyer's advice, I quietly moved the bulk of my funds into new accounts under my business LLC, officially removing my mother as a co-signer. I also filed paperwork to change my bakery's name from Rachel's Treats to The Gilded Flower, a name that sounded established and elegant, unrecognizable to my family. My mother, completely unaware, continued her narrative, telling anyone who would listen that I was broke and irresponsible. Meanwhile, an invitation arrived in the mail, addressed to me as the owner of The Gilded Flower. It was for a private investors gala, hosted by the bank. The gala was the premier business event of the season. Mr. Adams informed me that my bakery had been selected for a special Rising Star Business Spotlight. Everyone who was anyone would be there. I knew what I had to do. I needed to see the look on her face when she realized the truth. I mailed a formal, embossed invitation to my mother. "You are cordially invited as the guest of honor of the Gilded Flower owner," it read. She called me immediately, her voice giddy. "Rachel. You'll never believe it. I've been invited by a very important company. This is the kind of circle I belong in." Just as I was about to hang up, her tone shifted. "Oh, by the way, the bank called about some strange account alerts. I'm sure it's a mistake. I'll handle it." The next day, my mother stormed into my small apartment. She waved her phone in my face. "What did you do, Rachel?" "I got a notification that my access was removed from an account. Are you trying to hide your failures from me?" She was furious, her face flushed. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you thank me? You are so ungrateful and sneaky." I remained perfectly calm, sitting at my kitchen table. "It's my money, Mom. The money Dad left for me." My calmness infuriated her more. "We are family. There is no my money, she shouted before turning on her heel. I will fix this. You'll see. She slammed the door so hard the frame shook. I knew exactly how she would try to fix it. I didn't have to wait long. My phone buzzed with a security alert from my bank. An attempt was made to access your account by Eleanor Davis at 10:17 a.m. Access was denied. She had gone to the bank, probably pretending to be a concerned mother, claiming I was unstable or being scammed. She must have demanded they reinstate her control. Mr. Adams, however, was bound by confidentiality and the new corporate structure. He had refused her. A part of me felt a sharp pang of hurt that she would go this far. But a larger part felt validated. She would never change. This wasn't about protecting me, it was about controlling me. Defending myself was no longer enough. It was time to show everyone the truth. My mother hosted her annual charity brunch for the local women's league. It was her favorite event, a chance to be the center of a philanthropic universe. I arrived late. As I entered the garden, I heard her voice. And sometimes, you just have to let your children make their own mistakes, she was saying, to a chorus of sympathetic nods. My Rachel had it all, and she threw it all away on a whim. I walked through the crowd until I stood directly in front of her. The chatter died. Actually, Mom, I said, my voice clear and carrying. I came to donate. I reached into my purse and pulled out my checkbook. I wrote a check with a steady hand and handed it to the stunned charity host. The host's eyes went wide at the amount. Oh my. Thank you so much, miss, she trailed off, looking at the check. The Gilded Flower, I said helpfully. That's the name of my company. I saw the confusion on my mother's face. She didn't recognize the name, but she recognized the number of zeros on the check. A wave of whispers swept through the well-dressed crowd. Who was this company? Why was Rachel writing a check from them? I gave a small, polite smile to the room. Please, enjoy the rest of your day. I turned and walked away, leaving my mother standing speechless in the middle of her own party, her perfect world beginning to crack. The next morning, her world would shatter completely. My mother received a call from Mr. Adams himself. He requested her presence at the bank to confirm a very large transfer from my company account into the Davis Family Trust, the entity that technically still held some of the old inheritance assets. She must have rushed over, smug, thinking I had finally messed up so badly that I needed to put money back. I stood in the bank lobby, waiting. Mr. Adams greeted us both and led us to his desk. Mrs. Davis, we just need you to confirm the sender's details for this transaction. The funds are coming from the Gilded Flower LLC. My mother looked bored. Yes, whatever. Just process it. Mr. Adams remained calm. And you confirm that you understand the Gilded Flower now holds majority shares in the Davis Trust investments? The air left the room. My mother froze. What? Congratulations, Mr. Adams said, not unkindly. Your daughter's company is now the primary investor in your family's trust. She holds the controlling interest. The color drained from my mother's face. The financial reins she had yanked so hard for years were now, quietly and legally, in my hands. The news spread through her social circle like wildfire. Rachel, the failure, was the secret success. The ripple effect was immediate. Derek called me, his voice a roar of fury. What did you do? My construction deal just fell apart. The investors pulled out. I held the phone away from my ear. When he finished, I said simply, I was your silent backer, Derek. And I've withdrawn my support. It was never your money to begin with. He was sputtering, threatening to ruin me, when I hung up. The confrontation happened at my front door. My mother and Derek stood there, a united front of fury. You cruel, ungrateful girl, my mother shrieked, all pretense of elegance gone. After all I did for you. You've destroyed your own brother. That was it. I finally snapped. I didn't destroy anything. You did. You stole from me to fund his failures while you mocked my success. You went to the bank behind my back. You used my credit card to cater parties where you laughed at me. The words poured out, years of pain finally given a voice. My mother was stunned into silence. I went inside and returned with a thick folder. Here, I said, thrusting it into her hands. Every dollar. Every transfer. Every lie. It's all in there. The fallout was brutal and quiet. The folder of evidence broke my family. Derek's business collapsed without my silent funding. My mother's friends, realizing she had lied about me for years, slowly distanced themselves. The public humiliation she had inflicted on me was now hers. I felt a cold, quiet calm. I had won. But a few days later, I got a call from the hospital. My mother had been admitted. The doctor said it was severe stress and high blood pressure. The hollow feeling in my chest grew. My revenge had put my mother in a hospital bed. The victory felt sour and empty. The anger was gone, replaced by a heavy guilt. I knew what I had to do, even if I didn't want to. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and wilted flowers. My mother looked small in the white bed, frail but with her pride still burning in her eyes. Come to gloat, she asked, her voice weak. You think money fixes everything, Rachel? I stood at the foot of her bed, not feeling triumphant, just tired. No, Mom, I said softly. But integrity does. And you lost yours a long time ago. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stated a fact. She looked away, out the window, refusing to meet my gaze. I turned and left, the door clicking shut behind me. I felt a chapter of my life close, one filled with a desperate need for her approval. I was finally free. A week later, a formal letter arrived from my father's old attorney. With everything that had happened, I had almost forgotten the 5-year anniversary of my father's passing. The letter was brief. It stated that my father's will contained a clause I never knew about. He had given my mother control of the inheritance for a period of 5 years, to help guide me. After that, full and sole control automatically transferred to me. The transfer date was the very day of the brunch where she had humiliated me. I sat down, the paper trembling in my hands. My father, in his wisdom, had set this justice in motion years ago. He had known my mother's nature. He had trusted me to fly on my own. A single tear rolled down my cheek. It was the closure I didn't know I needed. I decided to honor my father's memory by using my success for good. I launched a community program through the Gilded Flower, offering baking classes to at-risk youth. I also set up a small business scholarship in his name. It was my way of turning the pain of the past into something positive, something he would have been proud of. I was finally at peace, building a life on my own terms. My phone buzzed. It was my mother. Her voice was quiet, not demanding. Rachel, she said. Can we talk? I think I'd like to try to make things right. I agreed to meet her, my heart guarded but open. We met at a neutral cafe. The air was awkward at first. She stirred her tea for a long time before speaking. I was wrong, she finally said, the words seeming to cost her great effort. I was jealous. Your father always believed in you so much. And when he died, I was afraid you wouldn't need me anymore. So I made you need me. It wasn't a full apology, but it was the truth. And for the first time it felt real. I forgive you, Mom, I said. And I meant it. But things will be different. I told her I would provide her with a small monthly stipend to help with her expenses. It wasn't a gift, it was a boundary, a way to be generous without being controlled. She nodded, accepting it. Your grand opening is next week, she said softly. Would it be okay if I came? The grand opening of the Gilded Flower's flagship location was everything I had ever dreamed. The press was there, the street was crowded, and the air was filled with the smell of sugar and success. I stood with a large pair of scissors, ready to cut the ribbon. As I looked out at the cheering crowd, I saw her. My mother stood at the very back, partially hidden in the shadow of a building. She wasn't trying to be the center of attention. She was just watching. And for the first time in my adult life, the look on her face wasn't superiority or pity. It was quiet, genuine pride. I cut the ribbon to a roar of applause. Later, as I mingled with guests, Mr. Adams, my bank manager, found me and asked for a quiet word. "I have some surprising news, Rachel," Mr. Adams said with a smile. "The success of the Gilded Flower, combined with your savvy investments, has pushed your portfolio's value beyond even your father's at its peak. You are now one of the top private investors in the region." The news was staggering. I had surpassed my father's legacy. He then leaned in slightly. "And, on a personal note, I handled the final paperwork for your mother's house this morning. The mortgage has been paid in full." I looked at him, confused. I hadn't done that. He gave a knowing nod toward my mother, who was still watching from a distance. "It was paid from an anonymous donor, but the transaction was linked to your new community fund." I had paid off her mortgage without even knowing it. I looked at my mother and whispered under my breath, "We're even." I used to think that winning, that revenge, would finally make me feel healed. It didn't. What healed me was the quiet understanding that I didn't need to destroy my mother to be free. I just needed to stop letting her destroy me. Standing in my beautiful, thriving bakery, surrounded by the laughter of my customers and the dedication of my staff, I felt whole. In the background, my mother watched me. There was regret in her eyes, yes, but also a new respect. We would never have the perfect mother-daughter story, but we had found a fragile piece. I had my dignity, my independence, and a future I built myself. And that, I realized as I smiled at a happy customer, was the sweetest revenge of all.